So a week ago, I made a video about a bunch of developers from CEG that left Star Citizen or got fired or whatever happened. And yeah, we have new info, so let me roll the intro and let's talk about it.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
Alright, so this is gonna be a shorter video, mainly because it is 5 a.m. first of all. Secondly, I'm working on some music and I don't really care that much, and mostly because there is not that much to talk about right here. But like, I was right to a degree, but like, here's the thing. CEG has issued a statement to like IGN for whatever reason, not to the backers, not to us, but to IGN. And in the statement, well, let's read out the article, like the whole article. So they say the Star Citizen developer CEG is the latest games company to cut staff, confirming a small number of positions were eliminated. As part of a relocation plan, some former employees have criticized CEG failed to specify the numbers of staff affected. Now, this is very important, and I'm not gonna read out. Like, I'm gonna leave the link for all of you guys, like down in the first comment or like in the description. Where like, if I forget it, just like hit me up. Just tell me in the comments that I forgot it. But yeah. So here's the thing. CEG issued a statement to IGN confirming it had decided to co-locate. Okay, I'm Serbian, so I don't fucking know what co-locate means, but sure. They decided to co-locate as much development as possible, and that as a result, a small number of positions were eliminated. The statement in full follows. As part of our normal process, we regularly look for ways to make our operations more efficient, which can include restructuring in order to place a position closer to the team it supports. Now that we are back in office and seeing the progress, I guess you can see this, I'll just like make it bigger so I can see it. Now that we are back in office and seeing the progress and quality of work when our teams are in person working together, we have decided to co-locate as much development as possible, which has resulted in some minor emphasis on the word minor staffing changes as we move some development positions closer to their core teams. As a result of this consolidation, a small number of positions were eliminated and we continued to recruit for key roles within the company. So, like, Jay Cross, that was the producer for Star Citizen, and he was, like, there for, 9 years? He is, like, minor staff change, like, Todd Pappy, that was, like, the Star Citizen Live director. He's also, like, just, a minor thing, I mean, I guess, but there is one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and let me find it. It's in the same article, and I already talked about it in my previous video where I replied to DJ360, that was like the whitest of the fucking nights, but it is about Annie Bouffard, that we saw her on screen a couple of times, at least once. She said on LinkedIn, and she was like in Turbulent, but she was like a CEG employee in Turbulent. She said something that IGN actually relayed, and it's, so where is it? So she said that she was leading a highly toxic company, and I read it out already, and just go watch that video. I'll just like clip that portion and leave it here. She said that she left the highly toxic company after the end of January because she saw a mass layoff disguised as a relocation of staff, which honestly, I don't know if they're toxic. Like, I can't tell you. I know, like, I can only talk about the shit that I know from, like, feeling on my skin. And that is that they are not very happy about having any criticism. But if I remember correctly, she said something along the lines of, like, during her evaluation, they were, like, highly toxic towards her because she was concerned about the well-being of her staff. But let me just use the clip from the previous video and we'll talk about it later. She was working in Turbulent, and I have lost, give me a second, I don't have Google Translate anymore because it's in French and my French is not that good anymore. She's, as I've said, if we go here, she was working in Greater Montreal. She was working in Cloud Imperium Games for 2 years and 9 months. So she resigned, and she said this. I have just resigned from a highly toxic company without having signed a contract elsewhere. It is very anxiety-inducing, of course, but in the end, it costs me much less in mental health costs than staying. I was gaslighted when I expressed concerns about potential layoffs, telling me I didn't know what I was talking about just before the party. I don't know what this means, but sure. I guess it's just like a bad translation. But basically just before it happened. And at the end of January, a mass layoff disguised as a relocation of staff. This is why I made this fucking video. When very few were able or willing to move to other countries or continents with little or no notice occurred. So this is what I thought was actually happening, right? This is CAG's bad. This is not them laying off people that are not hard workers. This is just them spending too much fucking money and not making enough money to like keep these people working still. So she continued, my boss hasn't spoken to me since November. This is fucking amazing. At my annual evaluation, it was admitted that I was doing my job very well and that I met all the objectives, but we spent an hour on my character and my negativity. She's overly negative, I guess. I was mocked in a condescending way when I said that what mattered to me was the well-being of my teams. It's her words against theirs, but there is no word from CAG about this, but I'm inclined to believe the person that is very frustrated with, like, that fucking quit the job without having a backup plan, right? Because she was so frustrated with the toxicity in the workplace. Let's just finish it off. She said, honestly, don't let anyone treat you like that. I know it's a labor of love, but you, me, everyone deserves respect. Don't persist in trying to change managers who are incapable of giving you the basis of human decency. So that is basically all that she said on LinkedIn, and I think she actually deleted her post, and she was like talking about the other posts were like, yeah, everybody's trying to be super happy and super positive and all of that on LinkedIn, because I guess it's the Instagram of like jobs. I don't know. And yeah, apparently she deleted it. I didn't check it, but I mean, I understand why she did it, if she did it. But there's one more thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this article, and that is that for some reason IGN, well, they didn't really directly compare CAG to other companies, but like, listen to this. The CAG cuts come during one of the most difficult periods the game industry has ever faced. Not true, no. Like, dude, go back to the 80s, first of all. Secondly, with mass layoffs throughout 2023 and continuing into 2024. Last month, Microsoft axed an eye-watering 1,900 staff from its video game workforce following the $69 billion acquisition of Call of Duty owner Activision Blizzard. Now, let's talk about this. So, first of all, yes, Microsoft has axed a bunch of people, but you gotta understand why this happened. I've been like keeping my close eye on the whole like merge or like acquisition of Activision Blizzard, because I'm a fan, or I was a fan of Overwatch, and I was a fan of Diablo, and back in the day I was a fan of Call of Duty. But just like me, most of you were a fan of some of their games, and that's why those companies stagnated, and they had to like first like have massive layoffs and then sell the company to another bigger company. And then when Microsoft got, well, it's not only that, it's just like bad marketing and bad fucking management. Like that's the fucking point. Or even better, they spent a lot of money on marketing and their management was dog shit, and it just shows. So what happened was Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard, and then they saw like all the issues, and they just like fired a bunch of people, including the higher ups, like the highest of the ups, basically. So comparing this to like CAG is like, oh, it's just like far-fetched, I guess. But there is one more thing that there's a couple of more things that I want to show you, and that is like just something that confirms what I'm saying, and that's this. This is post by a guy on LinkedIn. He's I honestly forgot who he is, but I talked about him, and you can search him and you can see it. But he said, "I hate the double speak around these layoffs," and this is why I said what I said in my original video, that like whenever somebody says that like layoffs, the trends of layoffs. Like, layoffs should not be considered a trend. Let's talk about the main issue here. The trend is poor fucking management. So, he said, Tencent made 6 billion USD profit last quarter. Profit, not revenue. Quarter, not year. If Riot doubled in size and had to cut 11% of its staff, who on the executive team is being held accountable? Who got fired? Who's not getting a bonus this year? Because I'll tell you something, the salaries of those 530 people collectively is less than 6 billion. As in less than 1%. So tell me again how you've been spending unsustainably, and this is the cost your workers have to shoulder. So, smart guy, obviously, very smart. I just turned into Trump, like, for whatever fucking reason. But no, like, I just have nothing to add here. Honestly, I just have nothing to add. And if we come back to this article, you will see that they actually talked about like what CAG said a couple of years ago. And it's like in 2022, CAG moved to a new office in Manchester, England. When it announced the move, CAG said it would create more than 700 jobs in the metropolitan area by 2023, and over 1,000 within the next 5 years. CAG also has offices in Los Angeles and Austin in the US, and the aforementioned office in Canada, as well as one in Frankfurt, Germany. So, yeah, if they're like laying off people, how are you, if they're firing people or if people are leaving or whatever the fucking term is, because you guys are just gonna like get me by the throat because of the fucking semantics. People are leaving. Like, they are either getting fired or laid off or fucking leaving on their own. So if those people are not there, how are they gonna have more and more jobs and more fucking employees? I don't know. I don't get it. Like, time will tell. I can tell you that CEG is currently hiring, but they're only hiring, or like mostly hiring, in Europe. So Cologne, I don't fucking know. Frankfurt, Manchester. I saw Manchester here. Yeah, Manchester. And there is one spot in Dallas. One spot, associate sales manager, and that's it. All the rest is just Europe, and like most of it is just Manchester. So CAG has to talk to their fucking backers. Like that's the main issue. Like, this whole thing reminds me of like IGN stepping in reminds me of my own country, and like I don't know if it's like because it's almost 6 a.m. or like what the reason is, but honestly it really reminds me of the elections that we just had here, because we're a democratic state or country, and the elections were completely rigged. So the EU had to step in, and they were like, what's happening over there? Like, what's up with the democracy, guys? So now the government has to respond to them, and they're like clinging on to China and all of that. So it's just fucking whatever. But it honestly reminded me of like of that, because like we were all asking CAG, like, what the fuck is happening, guys? Like, why did Jake Ross leave? Why did Todd Pappy leave? What's up with Dan Truffin? Like, we all know and we grew to love these guys, but like there's no fucking info and they just leave, and CAG is not gonna tell us anything. And then they go to IGN, or like IGN asks them, so they have to issue out a statement, and it's just that. And like the statement is completely fucking like whatever. Honestly, I would say, like, just looking at this and they're like reasoning on why they're trying to co-locate. If I understand co-locate, I would like say that they're trying to get more and more people together in one spot. And what a better way to do that, and what a better country to do that than England, because they have a lot of tax breaks for like game development and all of that. So I guess they're just trying to save money. And that's it. And I would assume that like Todd Pappy and Jay Cross and a number of people just left, mostly because they just didn't want to live in EU, or they didn't want to just have less money than they had before. And if you're working in the US and you're having like, let's say, I don't know, like 10,000, whatever, just an arbitrary salary for a game dev. Let's say it's 10,000, and you're asked to move to Manchester for like 6,000. You're not gonna stay there, right? So again, it's a weird move, but what you gonna do? Anyway, that is it for today, guys. I'm tired, and this is not going to be like an edited video. Maybe I'm going to have a song in the background. Maybe this song that I'm working on right now, so you can hear it and maybe get hyped up, and maybe you're going to buy it, or I don't know, whatever, when I release it. But thank you for supporting me, to all my supporters on Patreon and YouTube members. I love you guys. If you want to become a supporter, there's a link down in the description of the video for Patreon. There's a thing to click, like a button on the side for YouTube, and merch. Again, I'm not like wearing my merch because I was doing something else. I was doing music, and then I saw this. So merch is crazy good. You should probably get it and tell me how crazy good it is, and it's just funny. Anyway, peace out. Love you all. Take care, and don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling to space. Mwah. Bye.